Hey, do you ever wonder on how many harmonicas you actually need? When I started playing, I thought I needed every key and every harmonica model out there. So I bought harmonica after harmonica, and I ended up with a pile of harps I never used, and none of them actually made me a better player. So if you're wondering how many harmonicas you really need, I'll give you the honest answer in this video, and stick around to the end. There's one tip that can save you from a really expensive mistake. All right, so how many harmonicas do you need? Well, here's the deal. I've talked to a lot of players over the years, and there are going to be two main categories of players: people who are learning and practicing, and then people who are performing. If you're still in the learning and practicing category, then you really only need one harmonica. Here's the deal. Most players have one harmonica in one key and one model that they really like, and most of the time they just play that harmonica. That's the truth. That's what I do. That's what most of my students do. It's probably what you're going to do as well. And so if you want an excuse to spend a little less money, choose a harmonica that you can use for educational materials. So I would choose either a C or an A, and get a decent one that you'll probably enjoy. And that's really all you need to learn on. You could stick with one harmonica for the first year or two, and that's all you really need. It's one of the best things about harmonica. The instruments are relatively cheap, and you only need one to be able to play, okay? So why would you care about the other keys? Well, there's two situations. Either you like the sound of the other keys, or maybe you're trying to learn something that uses one of those other keys. And that's generally how you're going to think if you're not playing with other people. If you're playing with other people, you're going to need the keys of harmonica that they're playing in. So here's how I think about it. There's a range of harmonicas. On the low end of the standard range, we have a G. Somewhere around the middle is a C. And on the high end, we have like an F, or an F sharp is the highest end that we can play. Now I have some of these harmonicas. Here's a G. Has a bit of a thicker sound that I personally really like. They're a little harder to play than the ones in the middle, which is like a C. Here we go. I find the C and B flat area, that middle area, to be the easiest harmonicas to play. And so that's the one that I'd really start with, but they're both good. Okay, G, A on the low end, B flat and C in the middle end. And then on the high end, we have harmonicas like D and E and F sharp, or sorry, F, or this one here is an F sharp. So this is an F sharp harmonica. This is way on the high end. Here we go. The F sharp harmonica here that I use to perform with, it's very high. It's very shrill. I don't play it a lot at home. And this is what I'm trying to say is you're going to find ones that you like. I use the F sharp for performing, but at home I mostly play a C or maybe an A or a B flat. Okay. Most of the time though, I'm playing a C harp. And so it's probably the same way for you. You're going to have your favorites and you're going to just want to play that one. Okay. So you really need one harmonica to practice on most of the time, but you should eventually experiment and try out the full range of harmonicas, the low ones, the middle ones, and the high ones. Now, there are harmonicas that go below the G. This is, as an example, a low A harmonica. And it just has such a nice sound, right? The low harmonicas are a lot of fun, something you may want to experience at some point, but they are harder to play. They're especially harder to bend, especially as you go lower. Like a low F isn't that hard, but this one's a low A, and it's really hard for me to bend on this. All right, so that's what you need if you're playing on your own. So what about if you're performing? So really, you need the keys that you're playing with. So if you know the band and they only play in a couple keys, technically you really only need those harmonicas. But I think for most performers, you're going to want a full set of 12 harmonicas, okay? And you may even want two full sets of 12. So like, let's say I'm playing a show and I have some random harmonica, like an E flat harmonica, and I need it for a couple songs, which is the case for me because I play with a guitarist who plays a half step down. And let's say I get a reed stuck. It's something that happens to all of us. Some reeds just like won't move, and you'll draw on them and nothing will happen. This is a regular problem that you may run into, and being able to just pull out another harmonica, a duplicate of the one that you're playing, is really nice. And so just keep that in mind. If you're playing with other people or you're going up on stage, you're gonna want all 12 at some point, and you may even want 2 sets of 12. Like you can have one main set that you play and then another budget set of like East top harmonicas that you have just as a backup. Hey, before we continue, if this video is helping you, do me a favor and click the like button. It takes a lot of effort to make these videos, and I want to make sure that they are reaching harmonica players out there like you that need to see them. So click the like button. Thank you so much, and let's continue with the video. All right, now I also want to talk about harmonica models. When I started off, I felt like I wanted to try all of the different things, and the reality is that players have preferences. Without going into all of the complexities, the basics are some players are going to prefer wood-combed harmonicas over plastic-combed harmonicas. Some players like tin sandwich style harmonicas, and other players like other body types. Some players like tiny holes, and some players like large holes. Your preference is going to vary depending on your just personal style, your body, and also your budget. Some people like really cheap harmonicas that they can use and abuse, and some people like really high-end instruments so they can play a harmonica that won't hold them back, especially if they're doing advanced techniques like overblows. And so my main suggestion is this. As you fill out your keys, as you get new keys, you occasionally try new harmonicas and get one at a time. So let's say I had a C and an A harmonica, then okay, I'm gonna go try a G harmonica. I've only been playing on Hohner Special 20, so the next one is going to be a Marine Band, like a Marine Band Deluxe or a crossover, so I can experience that kind of harmonica. And then as you build out your collection, just try new harps, and you're going to find your preferences. Like for me, I really like playing high-end harmonicas, so my favorite harmonicas are my high-end Arkeas, but I also really like Hohners and some Seidels. And so you can go and try a couple of these out and find your favorites too. The one thing that I don't want you to do, so I want you to pay attention here, please, 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 please do not go out and buy one of those big sets of harmonicas so you get like a full set of 5 special 20s or something like that, especially if you've never tried that model of harmonica before. Like last week, I was talking to one of my students, and he told me that he bought a big set of Hohner crossovers. Supposed to be a really nice harmonica. He got them and realized, yeah, I don't really like them. The holes are too small compared to what I'm used to, and I don't think I'm really going to play them. So I don't want that to happen to you, because harmonicas, especially when you get nice ones in big packs, they can be expensive. So if you've never tried a harmonica before, do not get a pack of them. You'll just waste a whole bunch of money if you don't like them. Try one at a time, and then if you do find one kind of harmonica that you really like, then if you want, you can go and fill out your collection with that type of harmonica. Now, to know what harmonicas to buy, I think you'll really enjoy this video up here, where I go over 10 amazing harmonicas that I think you should own. So check that video out, and I'll see you next time. Peace.